All right, he made it. Governor McKee is in studio. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
How are
Nice
you?
weather.
Everything good? He's a nice outside.
Oh my God, I'm loving it.
Are you? I got to tell you, we'll start with something positive.
Well, there's a lot of positives, so you can keep on
But
going.
I'm going to start with something positive.
Yeah.
State's response to the snow. It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah.
I mean, on statewide, we had local issues, but statewide, I mean, is as good as it gets, right? Dealing with a historic storm.
When you're dealing with a historic storm, and put the travel ban in, state of emergency, and people stayed off the roads, which was good. Kept the people safe that could have been on the roads, but also the people behind the plows. Yes, look, it's a good shout out that said that the state was very prepared. And then in addition to that, being a former mayor, I knew that they had reached their max.
Yep.
So we had all we could handle on the state roads. So we brought in people, a crews from Vermont, right, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, National Guard in from Maine. And that helped communities all around the state of Rhode Island. So I'm pleased that we were able to get it done on the state side, but also help the people on the local roads because they needed some help.
Speaking of other states, I don't know if you heard the story I played when you were in the car driving over from your fellow governor Ned Lamont, who's talking about a gas tax holiday to help with the surprise rise, the sudden rise in gas tax or gas prices, I should say, in Connecticut. Our gas tax in Rhode Island, a little over 41 cents a gallon, according to the research I did. I think it's about that.
Well, that's the split between federal tax and state tax.
The whole gas. All right. So what's the state taxes? Right, 35. Last I looked, it was 33, but it might be 30. I think it's 35.
Yeah, something like that.
Because you just get the recent 2-cent increase for RIPTA, right, as of last year, which you didn't want, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I didn't think we needed it.
Right. So I think it's around there. So I mean, it's a decent amount. Would you consider doing anything like that in Rhode Island? Proposing that in the middle of you're in the middle of budget season right now, for at least a month off, 2 months, some sort of brief break in the gas tax to help prices come down for people?
Yeah, let's see where, I mean, the president's saying that war is going to be over in a short period of time, so the prices should come back down. So let's see where that is. It could be a short-term situation. The prices were getting in under the $3 level, recently. So, so I mean, we'll take a look at it, Matt. I mean, short-term, we'll certainly have to deal with the budget we got right now, and there's not a lot of room in that budget.
So it's not necessarily something on the top of your list.
No, every time you reduce revenue, you create issues. So I mean, I heard you talking about the income tax, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's nice to say you're going to lower it 2% a year, but do you know what every 1% means in terms of gross dollars?
A lot.
Yeah. Probably $300 million. So tell me, when you start looking at budgets and you want to take it down
1% lower in income tax will equal $300 million in state revenue?
Yeah. It's about $1.5 billion, right, on an average of 5% on a tax.
Income tax.
Income tax.
Yeah.
So at a 5% average, anywhere right now, it's anywhere from 3.9 to 5.9. At $1.5 billion, that's 1/5 of that is $300 million. So when you start talking about, okay, it's great to put in these ideas. Oh, we'll lower, but if you can't tell you how you're going to balance it, then it's really not really.
Well, it's put forth by the Chamber of Commerce, some representatives there. I think mostly as a symbolic counterbalance to the idea that you and even your political opponent have both put up this millionaire's tax. Why is it? Can you answer my question? I never really get a good answer to this whenever I ask politicians this. Why does the state of Rhode Island deserve more of anybody's money?
Well, it has to deliver the services like you just said. I mean, it costs a lot of money to put all the vehicles on the road to take care of the snowstorm that just came.
But that's not it. I mean, that's a one-time thing. That's not what it is. I mean, we have the worst roads and bridges by some studies, right?
Yeah, but I don't agree with that either. But I know we have bad.
We'll get into that. We got bad right now.
I want to get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We got bad. Partial of the roads right now are bad because of the winter we just had. That's
the interstate roads. We're in the like the top. I think in New England.
Okay.
And in terms of the remember, there's a distinction between state roads and municipal roads, right? Yeah. But happy to get into that. I'm the guy that knows.
But in terms of services, we got problems with the education system, which you're working on, all that stuff. People see more and more. We got a $14 billion budget it's gone up by 50% since the pandemic. People are like, we have enough money. Let's do something with it. That's what I think people look at. They look at it and they go, we're spending all this money. I'm getting taxed more and more and more. and it's never enough. So now we're going to go after the millionaires, which, of course, most of the people listening to my show are not millionaires, so they're not crying a river for the millionaires. But for me, I'm like, why does that millionaire getting more of their money taken away from them benefit Rhode Islanders?
Well, because one of them is that because of the Trump administration's policies on health care, left about a $40 to $50 million hole in our budget. We have to upgrade a lot of our technology. There's going to be a loss of people that are going to have health care in the state. We have to put money into the hospitals because there's going to be unpaid, uncompensated care that's going to be given. So that's not a small chunk of money. And then we're also putting in, for the broad base effort, eliminating the Social Security tax, which is a big deal. There's people who are retiring before 67 paying full on their Social Security tax. I think that most of the people, including the people who have some level of wealth, are going to benefit from, across the board, eliminating the Social Security tax. So, and then the other piece in that, in the affordability that we're putting in, is have a real child tax credit. Right now, the child tax credit, you can take that, if you earn a certain money, you can take a deduction on your taxes, but if you don't earn a certain amount of money, then you can't, and it costs just the same amount to raise a kid in any family. So across the board, that to me is fair. And then the energy issue, right, that we put in there too. We're looking to save the ratepayers $1 billion, and that's real money on an annualized basis of a couple $100 million a year. And I respect what's happening in Massachusetts, but as you said earlier in the show, that's a short-term strategy, right? That's kind of where we were when we're trying to get the $150 million credit accredited back to the ratepayers over the next couple of years. We're still working on that. So we're not just signaling out any particular group. I think the Social Security tax is a big winner, and I think that people are going to really rally around that, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. I'm just wondering, whenever I see state governments, any government, saying they're trying to make the case that with a $14 billion budget, we need more money. There's never any consideration of maybe our benefit structure is too generous. Maybe we take care of too many people. I saw the story. Was it 10,000 people did not sign up for health care coverage as a result of the changes? That was for Obamacare, or they had reduced. They got a worse plan. I mean, it's because those plans are unaffordable, right? The Democrats had to put in tax credit scheme during the Biden administration to make it so that people can afford it. The system's broken, and we just keep adding to it, and we're just putting Band-Aids over it and taking more money from people who make it and sticking it into the system that doesn't necessarily seem like it's delivering the results.
Well, there's people who have need, and we need to cover that. But I'm focused on the fact that, look, I'm trying to help every child in the state of Rhode Island do better in the schools, and we are making significant progress on that over the last few years.
One of the things you talk about in your 2030 plan is health. So I want to talk about that when we come back. So I got to take a break real quick here, and we'll talk about the health part of it too, because that having to do with the feds as well on this issue. Got a lot of things to get to. You just removed one of your administrators, one of your cabinet officials as well. We're going to talk about that, what happened with that. It's coming back. Governor McKee's in studio. We'll be back right after this. Stay right there. All right, Governor McKee's in studio. We just mentioned health. You talked about your 2030 plan. You say you want to get kids healthy. You talk about access to. You want to turn, if I remember correctly, some of the after-school programming, like the learning centers, will end up becoming health centers, that kind of thing. There's something that was interesting that I was listening to RFK Jr. on a podcast over the weekend, and he mentioned SNAP waivers for states to ban SNAP money from being used to buy sugary beverages and candy. He said 20 states have signed up for, only 2 of them are blue states. Are you against that? Would that something that you would be able to do, that you'd say, listen, we want to make sure people are healthy? His theory is this. We're taxpayer funding diabetes for young people, then getting them on Medicaid or Medicare later on in life, and then funding to treat them with the diabetes and the metabolic issues we give them. Is that something you would consider?
Well, what I consider is education on what good health is, and that was one of our businesses, a health club, and certainly in nutrition classes, and I took, soda out of my diet 30 years ago.
Sure.
So, along with other things that you shouldn't be eating and be healthy. I've met with Secretary Kennedy on this issue. We're going to educate people. We're not going to dictate to them. But again, they moderation on sugary drinks, fine. If
But what
that's
about taxpayer funding? I mean, we taxpayers, again, we were just talking about income tax and whatnot, trying to pay for this. I know it's federal money, but the SNAP program, but, it's all our money. And should we be paying for people to buy things that are killing them?
if it's in moderation, I don't have a problem with it, Matt.
But let them buy it with their own money, right? Rather than our money.
Well, look. There's a certain amount of dollars that they receive to put food on their table and keep their families, nutrition with nutrition. So, look, I've met with Secretary Kennedy. I asked him if he would come involved with the 21 learning centers that we're going to open up. They're going to focus on learning every day with earnings and health. He said he would, and when we started loading those up, I think that a broad education on nutrition is certainly in the, in the making, and I happen to believe that that's a good thing to do.
So you're a no. You're not going to ask for a waiver to make sure to ban sugary
We'll
drinks.
keep on looking at it.
What's there to look at? I mean, there's nothing. It's bad. We all know sugar is bad for us. It shouldn't be. And so either you just don't want to tell people what they can buy with SNAP. Is that what it is? Is there a philosophical issue there?
Well, I just don't want to be telling people what they can eat, and so if they're entitled to a benefit that brings that in. But I think education is really something that I'm hoping that Secretary Kennedy comes in and helps us with. Let's educate people in terms of what is healthy for their kids and what's not healthy for the kids, or what's healthy for themselves and what's not healthy for themselves.
The part that I wanted to ask you about before we get to the roads, because I know you want to talk about roads. Jonathan Warmer, your director of administration.
Yeah, let me also on the health side of things. Big win for the state last week, right? When we closed on those two hospitals.
Yep.
That was not an easy lift. Coordinating that in particular through our office with our chief of staff, working through the bonding, making sure that the financing went through, working with the AG's office, working with the Senate president and the president. That's a big win. 2,400 jobs are secured, and thousands and thousands of people who use those facilities now will continue to have those facilities.
Can you expand on the deal? The state had to come up with how many millions of dollars as a backstop for that?
We put a backstop in of $18 million. That's a beginning and an end. That doesn't go past that. Negotiated that out. If they have some difficulties, then those dollars are in play. But we're going to be really overseeing the operations, and we're expecting that they're going to be solvent. So if that's the case, then as long as the bonds are in place, those dollars will be intact for as a backstop. But
is this a long-term fix for this situation? I mean, how many years is this you think are pretty solid for?
Well, I think that they need to make a great deal of progress in the next year, right? So that that right now they were burning about $1 million a week with the old operation. Now this new operation has indicated that they're going to be able to get that under control with a very short period of time. And they have built into their financing a couple years of principal payments, mortgage payments. So it's a big win for the people who are working there, which they have a great relief as I toured there and talked to everybody before the settlement was done and after the settlement was done. That's a good win on health.
There was a lot of people that were reaching out to me. Heard from even third party wondering what was going to happen to their jobs, wondering what they worked in nursing and whatnot. They're worried about that. So I think it's a big sigh of relief that those institutions are going to be at least shored up for the immediate future, right? I mean, we're fairly confident that this is going to work out.
It's a really important piece, and that was something that I was adamant about, that those hospitals would not close like it happened in Pawtucket when I was lieutenant governor, and I was adamant then that hospital shouldn't close. But as governor, I got to have a say on the thing, and I put all the weight that we could in our office, and again, working with the Senate president, working with the speaker, working with the Attorney General's office, we were able to make that happen. That's a big win.
Let's go to I want to talk to your director of administration. You asked and received. This is a kind of a quick thing, happened on a Friday afternoon. Your director of administration, you asked and received his resignation, basically a firing, right? That's what we can call it. You fired him. A lot of problems are the Department of Administration. You had a situation where people got their W-2s with the wrong name on them. We've got a situation where people weren't being paid through this new Workday program, and then they got. The latest iteration of this whole thing was that there was some kind of envelope problem where people's Social Security numbers were exposed to some people in the mailroom. And now people are being offered up credit monitoring as a result of all this. You got rid of the guy at the top of the head. Was it his fault?
Well, first of all, that ERP program, which is a finance and a payroll package, was replacing a far outdated, computer system.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, we were doing payroll by with typewriters, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
When I came in, so the idea of doing it, and other states have done it and successfully, and we knew that there was going to be a little bit of turmoil during the whole process. It's very complicated, 30 some odd different contracts, all different types of payroll measure to do. But I sent a letter in at the end of January, said this is not going well,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to fix it. We need to address the payroll issue, and then sent another letter in early February saying we need to make sure that we get this W-2 under control, and it wasn't happening fast enough for me. So, look, we got one of the biggest obligations you have of anybody who's managing is to make sure that the people who are employed and doing the work, like we did in the snowstorm, as I said, get paid. And I did everything I could to make sure that they were getting compensated, but I didn't think it was going fast enough, and a change in management made sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is what is it about us? We can't get these systems turned over. I mean, this is like one technology system after another. We constantly have problems. UHIP is just the most one that comes to mind the most. Now, the system we use the same system here. What's the name of the system? Workday. We use Workday here. Never have any problem with it. What is it about us? We can't get these technology transfers done in a way that doesn't cause a disaster.
Well, we're not causing a disaster here. Everybody's getting paid. It's just it's not happening as smoothly as we wanted to. We knew that over about 6 pay periods that you were going to progressively move into a spot where it's going to be managed better, and that's the case, man. So, but in this situation, when you get the W-2s, you had the envelope issue that happened. There just was too many things that were going on that I wasn't satisfied with. So we did change the management, but the idea that of actually putting in a system made all the sense in the world, right? Because we were outdated by 20 years when I became governor, and it's something that we started to work on immediately. Is it going as smooth as I wanted? Obviously not. But at the same point in time, is it causing a situation where people are without their benefits, like UHIP happened, right? And you had wrapped around people around the block during weather,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get their benefits. That didn't happen. So everything in certain degrees.
Do you know where we are right now? If has everybody been caught up in getting paid what they're supposed to be getting paid?
Yeah, I was talking to one of the main union leaders that has the most employees, and they said that this past payroll was significantly better. We'll see what happens, when the next payroll comes. But we're monitoring it. We put Tom Verdi into a spot.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very talented, skilled manager. We expect to get our arms around it, and we expect that'll smooth out.
When you look at something like this, I mean, to remove a cabinet secretary, director of administration is not a simple thing. It's not a small thing, and to ask for his resignation like right away. Did you look at is it just the results, and you said I need a scalp for this, or is it something you looked into and you had your staff look into, and you realized that this person's management style was incompetent?
No, I think that first of all, the former DO director, this was not personal at all. So this has to do with
Results. Obviously,
we
right?
need to make sure that we are implementing a program there that makes sure that we take care of the people that are doing the work. And I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't satisfied with some of the explanations that were coming my way, and I felt as though it was time for a new management strategy, and that's what we put in place.
And so now the new acting director, is this going to be a situation where this person Mr. Verdi ends up being permanent? You think?
Well, that's undetermined.
Does he want the job?
We will open up to a whole different strategies, but right now, having somebody as strong as Tom Verdi, who was doing all our revenue, he was director of our revenue. He knows the territory very well, and we'll be working with him to make sure that we smooth out the areas that I wasn't happy with.
Speaking of directors, the Department of DOT director has an acting director right now, Mr. Rocchio, correct? You said that, if I remember correctly, you said you were going to do a national search for a replacement. If I'm intergalactic search for somebody else to come in. Is he up for the job? Is he one of the people you're looking at, or does he want it?
I think that'll be determined, but I can tell you, he did a great job during the snowstorm, and he stepped right in, and we used that as an opportunity to introduce him.
So he's in the running.
Introduce him to the public. I think they were very satisfied with what happened there. He's our top engineer, and he knows everything that's happening there. So that's a really good placement at a point in time when we want to keep the work going. We got a contractor to build the bridge right now. We have we have the funding in place. So, yeah. So the new interim director there, he's up to the task, and then we'll see how it goes. But we still, that's not going to stop us from doing some sort of a search, and we'll make that announcement once we start.
Well, I was going to ask
search.
you, what is this process going to look like for the search, and when are you going to start it? Is it something you're
Well,
you're
you
chomping at the
usually
bit?
do. You hire in somebody that does the search for you, and then you give them the criteria you're looking for. That we haven't got that in place yet, Matt. But once we do, we'll make that public.
You're not something you're imminent. It's not something you want to get done quickly. Is it just kind of like, yeah, we'll get there?
We got a good person in there right now.
Do you expect he'll be director until the election?
I expect that that Bob Rockio will be our interim director until we find a permanent director, and clearly, if he has an interest in it, he certainly can apply.
All right, so there'll be a process in some kind.
But yeah, and I would say look, we're in good hands there. The work that we've been doing on the roads and the other improvements is substantial. I just want to clarify this road issue.
Yeah, let's talk about that because that was my next step. All right, let's talk about the roads. Channel 12 did a story. There's a study out there. Says we're at the bottom of the list when it comes to road quality. They do a test, some sort of a roughness test. There's a truck that drives around and the bumpy roads, and you determine that in Rhode Island it is not only is the roads very bad, the worst in the country, they're also extremely expensive per mile cost. Yeah. And you bristle at that. Why?
Well, no, I don't bristle at it because when I became governor,
you agree that our roads are terrible?
I think our roads are a mess. They've been a mess, but I also know that as governor, within the first probably 6 weeks or a month, I've met with the road, the asphalt contractors, and they said, "Hey, you're not investing in the roads." Immediately, I put $100 million up, and freed up $400 million. And now, the state road work is being done. And
what year was this? So just so people understand, you say
2021.
So 2021, you put this investment in.
That's correct. And so that $100 million freed up $400 million. And so, yes, we had to do the
So
bridges.
people understand, when you give up, the states have to match. When you match money, the federal government will kick in 80% of a total.
And those
amount,
dollars
right?
come flowing in. Route 295 hadn't been done in close to 20 years. That's completed now. I made sure that was done. Our state highways, our stateways, actually are ranked, and I was looking at before I came in here as the top in New England. So the roads that the state takes care of in terms of those roadways, we're showing the benefit of that. You just saw the viaduct right near downtown Providence. That's completed and done in a really good way. Look, 80% of our roads are community, city, and town roads. And immediately, I also put into place a program we call Road Restore, Matt. And Road Restore is a matching program, so the state puts up funds, and the cities and towns put up funds, and then they do projects that we approve. So I knew as a governor that we needed to do something both statewide, which I activated, and it's in the process right now, and the improvements are showing that improvement. Are we there yet? No, we're going to keep on going. But I also know the cities and towns needed help. So I put the program in. So we put up $1, they put up $2. We've combined, we've done 1,000 projects in the local communities. That's not reflected, by the way, in these reports that Ted Nisi did, that did the work on. That's not reflected. It will be reflected. But we've done, I think the number is close to $130 million of local road improvements that have been done since I've been governor through this program. We have $10 million in the budget this year, and that $10 million will create another $30 million plus of more road improvements that are happening in the communities. This is faster investment than we've ever seen before, and it's because I put a Road Restore program in for the local roads, and I put $100 million in the budget to make sure that we could free up $400 million of federal
when
dollars.
You're talking about
that work is being done.
The way I understand that study, he was talking about the routes, like the roads like Route 2, which I think is a state road, like 136, 114 is a state road. These are the smaller roads that are in the cities and towns, but they're state roads, right? So a lot of those are included in that ranking. So it's not necessarily like a municipal road that they're in charge of, but a lot of these smaller roads that are, they're technically in the cities and towns, right? Obviously, that's not an interstate. So that's the problem. I know that somebody who drives 136 on a regular basis. 136 is a freaking mess. It's a disaster. Not to mention the Mount Hope Bridge, which is, you just put a new topping on it. I know it's not necessarily under the DOT, but you have some influence there for the Turnpike and Bridge Authority. That thing is a mess. The potholes on that already are back. There's a lot of them. People see it and they drive. Now, it's a cute issue now because we just had the winter from hell, right? So the potholes are going to be popping up all over the place, the freezing and the thawing and all that.
So on the report you're talking about, and I've looked at the graphing, there was more bad roads than there were good roads back in 2022, but that's basically when I started. Today, there's more good roads than bad roads. And we've increased the percentage there from like 31% to 36%. That's a big upside, big uptick. Are we there yet? No. And I know that. And that's why I did what I did. I immediately understood that the roads needed to be worked on. They are being worked on. And you're going to see a great deal more work in there because I've put the funding in to make that happen. Are we there yet, Matt? No, we're not there. And were we in worse shape when I showed up? Absolutely. And that's the reason why, again, freed up $100 million to free up $400 million. That work is being done and be completed. That schedule will be completed by the end of 27, all those road improvements. And then the local road improvements, 1,000 projects since I've been in office. And we help that with that matching money with the Road Restore program. That's a big deal. And all 39 cities and towns are participating in that program.
All right, we can take a quick break here. We'll wrap it up with Governor McKee when we come back next. Stay right there. All right, we only have about a minute left. I want to talk about energy because it's on top of everybody's mind. We talked a little bit about from the affordability. We got members of the General Assembly. I was alerted to this, that want to repeal the law that was passed last year, which allowed for Rhode Island Energy to go out and buy nuclear power. They want to repeal that. So it's like one step forward, 3 steps back. This is what you're up against in your own caucus, by the way, in your own party. The people out there that they see you're trying to make things happen to lead to affordability, to make things easier, and they just want to make it more difficult. Explain what's going on with that. How are you going to deal with that?
So we're going to deal with it by making a strong play. We're all-in strategy on energy. So I'm fighting to keep the Revolution win open, and we are winning that, and they actually started activating that last week. But we also got to open up to nuclear. And we're in conversations, and in the right circumstances, if we can bring a gas line here through work with the other governors, that discussion's going on, and under the right circumstances, we're going to do it. So we need to be all in. The solar needs to be there. The wind needs to be there. The nuclear needs to be there. The natural gas issue needs to have a strategy. We need to lower and control our costs on energy.
You're breaking a little bit of news there. What's the discussion look like in terms of how has it gotten more serious about the pipeline?
Well, I think that there's discussions going on. I know that our chief of staff will be at the White House in a week, continuing conversations I had at the NGA meeting that I had. We're open to all these options. We have to understand that the landscape has changed, Matt. We're not going to sell the number of EVs or electric vehicles that you need to kind of meet these goals. That's why we're resetting the timeline. We're just dealing with the facts that we got. There's only 500 electric vehicles on the lots right now in Rhode Island. We need to sell 13,000 a year just to keep pace on the tracking that we had there. So we're going to reset, and it's going to be an advantage to the people who live in the state of Rhode Island because we have to contain or control the cost, and we'll do that with their support. And the last hearing we had on this, Matt, 150 letters came in from the AARP seniors struggling with their utilities. We had dozens and dozens of people testify.
Yeah, we need to fix this problem.
We need to address
it's a generational problem.
And the only way you're going to address it is the people need to inform their General Assembly members that they need to follow my lead.
I look forward to talking to you about what that happens. By the way, coming up next, KMAX, special edition of the KMAX Sports Hour during the Dan York Show because we got PC basketball pregame starting at 3:40.
And don't forget about the A-10 women at URI. They just won the A-10 championship. They're going to the NCAA tournament first time in 30 years. Go Rams.
Governor, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. We'll see you later.